Hello and welcome to the history of Stargate SG1. Today's episode, Jacob Carter. And here we go. Jacob Carter was a major in the United States Air Force and the host of the Tok'ra Selmak. Upon being blended with Selmak, Jacob became a member of the Tok'ra and also an ally of the Stargate Command and regularly assisted his daughter, Sam, in various missions. This continued for 8 years up until Selmak's death in 2005, which also resulted in Jacob's death. The father of Colonel Samantha Carter and Mark Carter, Jacob was a longtime member of the United States Air Force, retiring as a Major General. Jacob grew up in Pittsburgh and joined the Air Force Academy. During a tour in Germany, he met Deborah Nelson on a late-night train ride. 2 years later, he proposed and they were married. When Samantha was young, he was supposed to pick up Deborah but was late, and she was forced to take a cab. There was an accident and she was killed. Mark blamed his father for this, and the two didn't speak for many years. As a young man, he served in the Vietnam War. In December 1969, his plane was shot down by the Viet Cong. His parachute failed, but he was rescued by his wingman and close friend, Lieutenant George S. Hammond. Hammond risked his life to save Jacob, as the previous August, he had met SG1, who had traveled back in time from 1999, and had learned from them that he would survive the war and go on to become a general. Shortly afterwards, Jacob was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross and returned home to his family. His son Mark was born in 1971. In 1998, Jacob soon learned that he was affected with lymphoma, a rare form of cancer. Jacob believed his daughter's greatest dream was to become an astronaut, and he made it his business to make certain she followed her dream. He took offense when she rejected his offer for help in getting into NASA, not knowing the true nature of her work in the Stargate program. He could not believe that she would prefer being locked inside Cheyenne Mountain, analyzing deep space radar telemetry. When Major George S. Hammond, Captain Samantha Carter, and the Tok'ra offered blending with Selmak, Jacob could not believe what he was hearing, but eventually was willing. He traveled through the Stargate and became host to Selmak, as well as taking the title of liaison between the Tok'ra and the Ta'ri. Since blending, his perceptions of the universe have changed forever. Jacob has become far wiser and less stubborn, though also more arrogant than Sam would have wanted. 1999, when Charlie was sent to Stargate Command by the Ritu Central Authority, the SGC contacted the Tok'ra. Jacob was sent, and once informed of the situation, he sent for the transphasic ratification rods. He used them to illuminate Mother. Later, he traveled with SG1 to a planet with the Ritu rebels. They discovered hundreds of rebels present and returned to Earth. When a squadron of 5 rebels followed them, he was part of a team consisting of Captain Samantha Carter and Cho that were sent to hunt them down. He was wounded by one of their metaphasic blasters but survived. After all the Ritu were eliminated, he took Charlie to the Tok'ra to cure his failing health with the symbiote. A short time later, he came back to Earth to acquire the assistance of SG1 in hunting down the Goa'uld Satesh, as well as resolve the tensions with his son, Mark Carter. Dr. Daniel Jackson was able to locate him on the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms database. They traveled to a town near Seattle and encountered Special Agent James Hamner, who had them escorted out. Colonel Jack O'Neill called the President of the United States, who called Hamner and put O'Neill in charge. Since Jacob or Teal'c could not get close because of their symbiotes, O'Neill, Captain Samantha Carter, and Daniel went in alone. They were captured and exposed to Nishta. Once the organism penetrated their tissues, Jacob used their earpieces to shock and kill the Nishta. When they escaped and began releasing the cult members, Seth attempted to escape through the underground passage by blending in with the cult members. He was informed by O'Neill and went into the tunnel with a Karakesh. He found Seth, who was able to use his Karakesh on him and force him against a wall. He then handed the Karakesh to Samantha, who used it to kill Seth. After recovering from his injuries, he and Samantha went to visit Mark and his grandchildren. While on an undercover mission to discover the size of Solkar's armies, he was captured and sent to Netu. When SG1 and Martouf came to rescue them, he informed them that Solkar's armies are 10 times bigger than previously thought. Martouf relayed the information to Teal'c, who informed the Tok'ra Council. After Bynnar was killed by Apophis, they attempted to escape but were captured. After Martouf and SG1 were tortured, they were able to escape using the transportation rings to ring to the Teltac. At the same time, the Tok'ra Aldwin blew up Netu. destroying Solkar's Hatak in orbit and killing Solkar. To celebrate, Jacob offered to take some time off for a vacation with his daughter. The year 2000, when Colonel Jack O'Neill and Teal'c were trapped in the X-301 interceptor after the recall device took them to deep space. He was on a mission to P2C-257 when Major Samantha Carter and Dr. Daniel Jackson arrived to seek his assistance. He ringed them to his cloaked Teltac. After giving them a stern lecture, he agreed to help them, and he modified the hyperdrive to get there faster. Once they found the X-301, Jacob ringed Jack and Teal'c to the ship after they ejected from the interceptor. After returning to Earth, he stayed there until the Tok'ra intercepted the transmission by Apophis and Harrower about an alliance. He and SG1 used his Teltac to travel to the Tobin system and reprogram a Tobin mine. Once the mine was reprogrammed, they released it, and it attacked Apophis's mothership. Believing that Harrower had attacked, Apophis revealed a cloaked fleet and destroyed Harrower's Hatak. 2001. When SG1 captured Kronos' Hatak, he gave them flying lessons in exchange for allowing the Tok'ra to use it to take the Vorash Stargate to an off-the-grid planet and form a permanent Tok'ra base. When Tanith escaped and informed Apophis of the Tok'ra's location, he and Major Samantha Carter devised a plan to cause Vorash's sun to go supernova by injecting a Stargate dialed to P3W451. The black hole on the other side pulled matter from the star through the gate and caused it to blow up, and caused it to explode. They entered hyperspace, but the nova amplified the hyperdrive window, and the Hatak and Apophis's mothership were thrown into another galaxy. Once there, Apophis's mothership was attacked by a replicator patrol ship, which allowed Jacob to flee and hide near a blue giant to effect repairs. Once they were finished, the other ship was gone, and Apophis's mothership had been abandoned. They ringed over to the mothership to acquire crystals to repair the hyperdrive. They then detected a Teltac and were hailed by Teal'c. They allowed them on board, and Teal'c betrayed them because he was brainwashed by Apophis into believing he was still his first prime. Once Apophis took over the ship, he entered hyperspace and threw SG1 and Jacob in a cell. Unfortunately, a replicator managed to sneak aboard and began to take over the ship. They increased hyperdrive speed, and a full power failure allowed them to escape their cell. They made it to a Teltac and devised a plan to stop the replicators. Colonel Jack O'Neill and Carter headed to the engine room, and when the ship dropped out of hyperspace, they destroyed the sublight engines and raced back to the Teltac. They escaped the ship, and without sublight engines to slow down, the ship crashed into Selmak, killing Apophis and destroying the replicators. Hey, thank you for watching part 1 of Jacob Carter. Have a great day. Bye-bye.